Let's bring in now Ron DeSantis' challenger in the Republican primary, Adam Putnam, Florida's agriculture commissioner. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir. So what did you make of the rally last night and the direct mentions of your opponent?
Well, we were glad to have the president in Florida. He's certainly here an awful lot with his second home here. And I love the fact that he was in Florida to highlight vocational education, something that is the highest priority of my campaign, something that I've put out a very specific plan on how we put vocational and technical training back into our middle schools, back into our high schools, and stop treating our VOTECs and our community colleges like second-class citizens.
You have repeatedly claimed that you are very closely aligned with President Trump. Why has he thrown his support behind DeSantis and not you?
Well, I do support President Trump's agenda, and I'm not surprised. Congressman DeSantis is certainly very comfortable with the ways of Washington, but I'm focused on Florida. I have the support of nearly 50 Florida sheriffs, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi. I'm focused on Florida issues and Florida challenges. If we're going to make America great again, we have to make sure that our third largest state is doing our part. And under Rick Scott, we've just had an exceptional economy. I have a plan to make it even stronger. And there's no doubt in my mind that an awful lot of the people at the Trump rally last night were Trump-Putnam voters. Considering
both you and Ron DeSantis claim to be closely aligned with the president on his policies and his strategy, where do you differ the most with Ron DeSantis?
Well, I think it's a difference between a Washington focus and a Florida focus. I know Florida best. And I have a plan, a specific agenda to put Florida families first, Florida jobs first, and Florida's public safeties first. If a hurricane is threatening to make landfall in Chokoloskee, you need a governor who doesn't need to find a map to discover where that little town is. I am the candidate for governor who has a vision, a plan, and a knowledge of Florida to be able to implement a conservative, pro-business agenda to make our state even stronger and even better than it already is.
I want to call up the latest Real Clear Politics poll. Ron DeSantis polling 39% to you, 27.8%. That is more than a 10-point lead at the moment. That is a flip from what we did see before the president threw his support behind DeSantis. You had been leading in the polls before that happened and before that Fox News debate down there. So what does this say about President Trump's influence in these elections?
Well, it certainly says that the president is well-liked in the state of Florida, but I also know that Floridians are going to make up their own minds about who Florida's governor should be. Look, we don't want to import Washington dysfunction into the state of Florida, the fact that they're just not able to roll up their sleeves and solve the many problems. Here in Florida, we're a model for the nation. We've taken our unemployment rate from double digits to under 4% in the last 7.5 years. We've cut taxes and balanced our budget every single year. And we've cut our debt rather than lifting the debt ceiling like they've done in Washington. So I'm focused on putting Florida first. And that's a very different approach, I think, than what we're seeing in the other candidates who are running for governor here in Florida.
Did you talk to the president while he was in town?
I did not.
He did not mention you by name yesterday, and there was a lot of anticipation to see how the president would handle that, knowing that you're a big supporter of his. He didn't say anything negative about you while he was there.
No, he didn't, and there's no reason why he should have, because he knows that his agenda is an agenda that I support. Cutting taxes, getting that second Supreme Court justice on our court, continuing to fight hard for American workers and Florida farmers when it comes to these trade renegotiations. But he also knows, I believe, that we need strong states pulling their share of the load. And that's what we've seen here with Governor Rick Scott. That's what we've seen here with Attorney General Pam Bondi. And that's what my campaign is rooted in, which is making sure that Florida is doing the best job that Florida can do, frankly, in spite of some of the dysfunction that goes on in Washington. Here in Florida, 1,000 new people are moving here every single day because they know that we roll out the red carpet for small businesses. My campaign is all about our veterans, our small businesses, and making sure that we put career and technical education back into our schools.
We had Ron DeSantis on the program yesterday. Great to have you, Adam Putnam, on the program this morning. And Pam Bondi, by the way, the Florida AG, has thrown her support behind you. We saw the latest ad that you put out. Adam Putnam, candidate for governor of Florida, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.